This is Dennis Rodman.
And this is the odd brain of Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman is a former NBA player who had an extremely illustrious career, playing 14 seasons and winning 5 NBA championships. But beyond the court, Rodman is known for his explosive and outlandish personality, fiery temper, vibrant hair, and unique fashion choices. Different parts of his brain drive and regulate different aspects of his personality and actions. Let's begin with the cerebellum. The cerebellum, commonly referred to as the little brain, controls voluntary movements and regulates motor control. 70% of the neurons in our nervous system reside in the cerebellum. The strength of his cerebellum is what allowed Dennis to be such an outstanding basketball player and rebounder, enabling him to physically coordinate himself on the court. Next, the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus regulates basic drives such as hunger, thirst, and sex drive. It also regulates the body's temperature. Dennis most likely had an extremely overactive hypothalamus, as it is reported that he had relations with around 2,000 women over the course of his career. Third, the amygdala. The amygdala is the fight or flight center of the brain, regulating extreme emotions like aggression and fear. Rodman is well known for being a hothead on the court, suggesting the hyperactivity of his amygdala and its tendency to elect to fight rather than flight or freeze. He plays a ferocious style of basketball and is infamous for getting into verbal and physical altercations with opponents, officials, and in some cases, teammates and coaches. Now, the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland regulates hormonal processes such as growth and metabolism. His pituitary gland was practically dormant for a long period of his life, but eventually activated at an unbelievable rate, as Rodman had an unreal growth spurt as a teenager, growing from 5'9" to 6'8" in just 1 year. The hippocampus. The hippocampus is responsible for the formation of memories and intake of information, and the subsequent connections of other stimuli to those memories. Rodman had an extremely rough upbringing, as his father was absent in his life and his mother had little to no involvement or concern for him, even going as far as to refuse to let him dress up for Halloween as a young boy and kicking them out of the house at 19. These early hardships can explain Dennis's outlandish forms of expression through fashion and his poor moral compass and overall lack of stability and maturity. Next, the frontal lobe. The frontal lobe is the executive branch of the brain. It regulates executive functions, motor skills, coordination, expressive language, and cognition. Rodman's frontal lobe enabled him to excel athletically, but was also extremely underdeveloped when it came to his decision-making, as he made very poor decisions in his life off the court with drugs, sex, and alcohol. He infamously left his team in the middle of the season to go on a multiple-day bender in Las Vegas. He is also known for having no filter and expressing himself in a multitude of unique ways. Lastly, the occipital lobe. The occipital lobe contains our visual sensors, allowing us to see and for our vision to function properly. Rodman's occipital lobes enabled him to select the vibrant colors and designs that he infamously applied to his hair. They also enabled him to select his unique wardrobe.